In this video I'm going to show you how to stitch fishbone stitch. So this is another filler stitch, so it's used to fill, you know, large areas of stitching in embroidery. And this is a really great stitch to use when you're creating leaves, and that's because it leaves a really, well, it can leave a really defined center line in the bottom half of your stitching. So you'll see what I mean when we get going. So let's get started. When I'm stitching fishbone stitch, I like to draw a center line down whatever shape I'm stitching, if there isn't already one there. And the reason for that will become clear once we start. So to begin, starting at the top of your object, so in this case I am stitching a leaf. So we bring our needle up, and I want to do quite a long stitch here. So the nice thing with fishbone stitch is it creates a line, which is why it's often used for leaves. So depending where you want that line to start, it depends how I guess long you stitch this first stitch. So if you want it to start kind of in the second half, you'd stitch this really long. If you wanted to have a line coming from almost at the top, you'd stitch it short. So once you've stitched in your first stitch, now we're going to alternate between left and right side. So I'm going to come up on the left side, right next to that first stitch, but you'll also see that I'm going to be following this curved line. So I'm coming up on the left, and if you have little bits of thread from your knot come through, just tease them out on the back. All right, so I'm coming up on the left. Now I want to angle this stitch over top of that first stitch. So I'm going to go down on the right side of that line, just below that stitch. So I hope you can see that that's kind of, it really is just below that first stitch, and pull that tight, and you'll see that crosses over. Now I'm going to do the same on the opposite side. So on the right side, going to the left side of the line, just below where I've stitched. And again, that's going to cross over. And I'm going to keep alternating between the left and the right sides, pushing my needle through on the opposite side of that line, and just incrementally working down. So as I'm working, you can see how each stitch crosses over the previous ones, particularly right on the base. As you reach the end, the base of your shape, in this case my leaf, you'll see that your stitches are getting progressively shorter. So you just want to keep tracing around the outside line. And as you come to the base, you will stop inching down. And so you'll see that I'm at the base of my shape here. So I still want to fill in these shapes just to keep getting that curve, but I'm going to go through the same spot. So again, I'm still inching down on this side, but I'm going through the same spot at the base. So I think just 2 more stitches, one on either side. Through the same spot. So that's fishbone stitch. So you can see that it's formed a bit of a line down the center. This is what the back looks like. So this is the length of my first stitch, and this is where I've been inching down. So yeah, so just remember, if your shape doesn't have a center line, draw a center line. Then take that first stitch as deep, or well, sorry, not as deep, but to wherever you want your little line to begin. And then just keep going from opposite side to opposite side. So go from left to the right side of the line, then right to the left side of the line, and keep working down. And when you do hit the base, you don't need to keep moving your stitches down, you just go through the same point.